We are going to begin with a presentation from the Chief of Special Education, Christina Foti.
My name is Christina Foti, Chief of Special Education for New York City Public Schools. I truly appreciate you taking the time tonight to learn about the importance of transition planning for students with IEPs. The transition from high school to the next phase of life may seem far off for some of your children, particularly those of you with smaller children. But I must remind all of us that it will arrive sooner than we think. For those of you currently in the thick of the process, we want you to know that we are here to support. And as a sibling of an adult brother with significant disabilities, I understand firsthand the concerns that accompany this journey. However, I must tell you all that I am more excited than ever and filled with hope for the future of our students and loved ones with disabilities. Society is increasingly recognizing and celebrating the unique abilities and perspectives that individuals with disabilities bring to their communities. I celebrated the day that LinkedIn highlighted autistic and dyslexic thinking as valuable skills that should be highlighted and actively sought after. This is a significant step forward in acknowledging the diverse talents within our community. New York City Public Schools is here to help to provide guidance, workshops, skills, and support to make sure that your family feels confident about your child's pathways to graduation, to career, and adult services. All students deserve meaningful and enriching lives. And planning for the transition from school to adulthood is exactly what's going to make that possible for our kids. New York City Public Schools believes in a bold future for every student. Our transition and college access centers, which we have one in each borough, are staffed with incredible teams of folks who are here to help to make this a reality for your child. So once again, I am so excited for this session because planning for a student's transition must include you as family members at the forefront. The fact that you're here certainly shows us that you understand that. Once again, thank you for joining us, and a heartfelt thank you to my team for sharing this vital information. Together, we can ensure that every student's transition journey is one that is filled with promise, opportunity, and success.
It's the correct presentation. So good evening, everyone, and thank you so much. I have goosebumps from all those wonderful languages that we just heard. It just talks a lot about how we are in this together, and we come from so many different cultures and backgrounds. It's so great to be together, to be here together tonight. So my name is Jonathan Santiago, and I have the privilege of being your Executive Director of Transition and Post-Secondary Initiatives, which includes our Transition and College Access Centers. I am not alone today. I am here with a colleague who is going to introduce herself really quick.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm Lori Barnes-Holden. I am the instructional lead at the Transition and College Access Center in Queens, and I'm very happy to be here.
Great, thank you so much, Lori. And apologies as I don't think I get good lighting here at my house, but we'll get through this together tonight. So our agenda for tonight. So right now we're looking at a slide with glasses, and we're going to discuss tonight what are transition services. We're going to talk about preparing your child for transition through each grade level, planning for graduation, work-based learning, developing employment skills, resources for long-term success, which includes agency linkages, including Access VR, agency support, college programs, and materials. So we have a nice abundant amount of information for tonight's session. So what are our outcomes for today? Right now, we're looking at a slide with a light bulb and a bullseye with two arrows. And in this slide, we're talking about our objectives. So our first objective is to understand what transition services are and how NYC Public School provides support. And also to receive information about transition planning and learn ways you can support your child, including resources, to help you in the transition planning process. As parents, And as a team in New York City public schools, we want the best for our children and our students and helping them achieve their goals. So we can also ask ourselves tonight, how are we developing their skills and making their decisions for the future? How can we support them in developing skills in settings where they are on their own? So I'm going to talk really quickly about the Transition and College Access Centers, which are phenomenal centers, which Chief Bodie spoke a little bit about. The Transition and College Access Centers are community centers based right in the community in each borough. We have one in the Bronx at DeWitt Clinton High School. We have another one in Brooklyn at Boys and Girls High School. We have one in Queens on Jamaica on Sutton Boulevard, one in Manhattan, 2 blocks from Madison Square Garden on 35th and 8th. And we have another in Staten Island on Bay Street, right by the Staten Island Ferry. And so these centers' main purpose is to work with families and students, which they have phenomenal staff and provide different services. They're there for you in the community to service the community. And we have partners as well, such as schools and different industry partners for internship and employment purposes. But as mentioned before, one part of the work of the TCACs, or Transition College Access Centers, is to work with student services and support, coordinate work-based learning and vocational opportunities for students, support student diploma requirements and credential options through work-based learning, provide students with pre-employment transition services, provide students with individual meetings to explore transition to post-high school options, provide guidance and support on disability support services beyond graduation, in college or the workplace, to work with family and parent services, right? Support parents, students, and schools in transition planning, in the transition planning process through individual meetings, provide transition planning workshops for families, pathways to graduation, college and career opportunities, employment services, and transition to adult services and agency linkages. So there are a lot of different services which we provide, and we are here and we're here to support family and students. And all of this, as we're part of the New York City Public Schools, is free for every single student within the New York City Public Schools. So first, we hear the word transition spoken, right? Sometimes in TV or sometimes in stores or in commercials, but what is transition when we're discussing it in terms of schools and students? Well, transition refers to high school students or other students who are moving from high school or middle school to the next phase of their life. So this can include college vocational training, joining the workforce, career adult services, or other opportunities to develop skills as a student moves to adulthood. When we discuss transition, we consider many of the changes for students, which includes academic, social, and personal. These include adapting to new environments, gaining skills to be successful independently, and new responsibilities. When we transition plan, we are considering the unique needs of the student. So in this slide, we're looking at 3 main circle bubbles, which is school, jobs, and housing. And we're discussing individual transition meetings in this slide. And TCAC teams can help you and your child to plan for college and career readiness through individual meetings with which our offices calls consultancies. And during these transition consultancies, we discuss employment, career mapping, internships, post-secondary agencies. Regarding education, we discuss college and universities, vocational and adult services, independent living, housing resources, and financial education. So remember, when one is discussing transition, because transition does occur throughout different phases, right? Not just in high school, but we're discussing the transition from high school to post-secondary life, right? There's many different pathways that a student can choose, right? It includes permanent employment, education, and independent living. So there's not just one success pathway that we support with, there's multiple successful pathways for your child that we at the TCACs diligently support. And again, these services are available throughout the entire year, summer and fall and winter, 365 days a week. So in this next slide, we're looking at an arrow which has different lines that lead into different categories that we're going to be discussing of how TCACs help prepare students for employment. So we do help prepare students for graduation and work readiness through different programs. So we do help identify training required and does your child's own personal values. We help students gather information on various jobs that interest them, right? So when we're speaking with students, right, through an individualized or personalized transition consultancy, or just speaking with a family member, right? When we're discussing a child's interest, right, we want to make sure that if they're going to do a internship or join a work-based learning program, it is of their interest, not ours, right? Their interest, so that they can be successful in their employment later on in life. We also assist acquiring job readiness skills or coaching students on specific job tasks at their work site. So as students, as we're supporting your child, if they're in an internship, we also support them and coach them in the different job tasks that they might be asked within their work sites. We guide students in identifying their interests, strengths, needs, and also wants. We emphasize professional attributes and resume building skills. We engage in mock interviews to prepare students for job interviews with potential employers. And previously I had discussed that we do have industry partners throughout the entire 5 boroughs. And so we attempt to place your child in different interests with different companies that is aligned to their own interest and needs and wants. I also wanted to emphasize the fact that we also coach students in professional dress, professional speech, and also resume writing, which is something that can assist in permanent employment. So when one thinks about or when you maybe thought about your child's future, right? It probably starts from the day that they are born, right? And we want to focus on how NYC Public Schools supports transition planning. So as mentioned before, transition planning does not just begin in high school. Transition planning begins in elementary school. Students learn academic and personal behaviors that support learning, engagement, and persistence from teachers and school counselors. So that's just one way in this lovely slide, which also includes a picture of a teacher holding an A card and ABCD picture on the wall, and 2 lovely students sitting on a desk. Additionally, students in elementary school discover interest and become more self-aware. School teams foster self-determination and self-advocacy to support choice-making and preferences. Students at school are exposed to community and leisure activities, and students explore mobility and communication options. So personally speaking, I knew that when I was in elementary school, and right, maybe not everyone thinks like me, but when I was in elementary school, I knew I wanted to be a teacher, right? And so that carried through all the way through middle, high school, and into college. And so that doesn't mean that students or other people won't change their mind about what they want to be when they grow up. But certainly transition planning can begin in elementary school, because from an early age, we see that students do have an idea of what specifically interests them, and that can lead it, as Chief Odie says, when one blinks their eye, as a child will go from elementary school right into high school. So transition planning and their interest does not just begin in high school, it begins in elementary school. So transition continues into middle school. Schools provide age-appropriate transition assessments to support students with agency and self-determination. At 14 years old, students are eligible to engage in work-based learning to explore careers. IEP teams develop transition goals and services to support students' path to graduation and beyond. Students attend their IEP meetings and express their needs and interest. In this lovely slide, which we see 3 students sitting at a table enjoying a lovely, lovely lunch. Additionally, which we're going to talk a little bit more in the upcoming slides, right? Transition folders, which can be hard copy or digital, helps organize and safekeep important documents and artifacts that support students as they progress through elementary, middle, and high school. A transition folder checklist can be found on page 31 of the Guide to Transition Planning for Students with Disabilities, which my partner will be putting links throughout our session today. So transition continues into high school. We administer age-appropriate transition assessments, which informs all aspects of the IEP, and student voice and participation is included in the IEP meetings, right? So there's IEP meetings, just like in this slide, we see this picture of a meeting happening. So just as we see for high school students and maybe a teacher there discussing perhaps their transition folder, because there is a folder in the picture. This is IEP meetings and about transition meetings and transition assessments is very important as it does continue in high school. And this includes transition goals and services for post-secondary life, participation in internships, work-based learning, and other employment opportunities, exploring graduation pathways and identifying which one is appropriate, maintaining updated career plans and employability profiles, partnering with agencies, because we can't all do this together, right? We need to work together, especially with our partner agencies that can help support transition and post-secondary outcomes. Determine if travel training is appropriate. That's another service that TCACs do support students regarding travel training. We research and apply for college, vocational, or training programs, exploring adult living options. And if applying to college, decide whether to self-report disability status for eligibility for accommodations. And I want to just emphasize that if applying to college, because when one discussed in the past post-secondary success for a student after high school, the one word that always popped up was college, right? You have to go to college in order to be successful after high school. Well, we now see that there's been a great shift in thinking regarding what does post-secondary success look like after high school. It is not just college, right? There's vocational programs, career and technical educational programs. There's different jobs with different markets. There's independent living. There's different pathways to post-secondary success, which does not just rely on going to college. As students become more self-aware and involved in the process, they will begin to enter the planning and execution stage of development. More autonomy should be given to the students to participate in experiences that can enable them to make real-world applications. And this can also help develop universal foundational skills, such as managing information, which is quite important, right? Leveraging resources, and also building out their post-secondary plans. So I wanted to discuss regarding college accommodation. So, right, this is just one pathway, right, for post-secondary readiness, right? There is Local Law 18. In February of 2023, Local Law 18 was passed, establishing a program to help high school students with disabilities going on to institutions of higher education to obtain accommodations, which is extremely, extremely exciting, as this was not the case in the past. With consent from students or parents, which is depending on age, the law requires that New York City public schools share special education documents, such as recent evaluations or the IEP, with institutes of higher education electronically to help streamline the accommodation eligibility process for students. Beginning this school year, as of March 1st, 2024, which was 3 months ago, with each completed IEP, you should receive a letter titled Parent Notification for College Accommodations, outlining how you can seek accessibility services in college with the help of your local TCAC. Coming soon on this letter, students and or families of students aged 15 and older, if the student will not be 18 at the time of college enrollment, can opt into electronic sharing of special education documents with institutes of higher education by signing and returning the letter. At the end of the school year, schools will contact families of graduating students to confirm their participation in this program, electing to share documents electronically and to obtain contacts, email addresses to which the documents will be sent. So I know that was a lot of information. So just to kind of recap, and again, your borough TCACs are here to help you understand Local Law 18, but it supports students entering college or post-secondary learning. It's designed to streamline the process of NYCPS sharing evaluations or IEPs with colleges or universities for students who are seeking accommodations in college. So why is this new Local Law 18 important? Well, it helps streamline how important documentation is shared between your child's high school and their college and universities. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out to your local TCAC office and they'll be very happy to assist you. So we did discuss a little bit about the transition folder. We've reviewed expectations of how New York City Public Schools supports students through grade levels, elementary, middle, and high school. So here I want to talk a little bit about the transition folder. This is something you can do to support your child as they enter middle to high school, gathering important documents both relevant to education and things you may need to apply for a job or internships or college or to access adult services. Some of the items that one may have in the transition folder is self-identifying information such as birth certificate, social security cards, photo identification, but also things that are more aligned for college, like such as your transcript, diplomas, awards, and certifications, things that are aligned to employment, such as working papers, resumes and cover letters. It could also include transition assessments, New York State Commencement Level Career Plan, an Individualized Education Plan, IEP, professional references, and also letters of recommendation, work-based learning logs, employability profile, exit summary for students earning the Career Development and Occupational Studies CDOS credential, keep record of work-based learning, voter registration, selective service registration, medical information. So this is a lot of information, right, that can be in the transition folder. If you have any questions or think, how can, does my child have a transition folder? How do I know this? Please reach out to your borough TCAC and we'll be happy to support. Another service that is provided by your borough TCAC is Pre-Employment Transition Services, or Pre-ETS. Pre-Employment Transition Services provide support to students in 5 areas. Post-secondary counseling for students, to help provide students with counseling related to education options after high school. Job exploration counseling for students, to provide students with counseling related to career options after high school. Self-advocacy for students, to develop self-advocacy skills, workplace readiness for students, to enhance career exploration and develop soft skills. Work-based learning for students, to develop the skills needed for an internship, work tryout, or work-based learning experience. Pre-ETS is a collaboration through New York City Public Schools, Access VR, and also the New York State Education Department. So how do I know if my child is eligible for pre-ETS services? Well, they have to be between the ages of 14 and 21. They are open to receive the services between the hours of 4 and 8 p.m. during the school year, and during the summer from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. For the application, students must sign a paper application must be filled out, signed by both the student and guardian, and then scanned into your TCAC office, or the borough that the student attends school in. When can my child start? Students can start the services as soon as the application is submitted and processed. And I believe my good colleague, Lori, is going to put a link which has the application. So these services are free and available through your borough TCAC office. If you need more information, please contact your borough TCAC office. So we did discuss a little bit about work-based learning, and I want to make sure that we all understand what is work-based learning and what are internships. So work-based learning integrates practical work experience and academic learning. It helps to provide students an opportunity to participate in real-world work environments such as internships or apprenticeships. Opportunity for students to apply the knowledge and skills so students gain hands-on experience and develop professional skills. Work-based learning includes learning technical, academic, and employability skills in real-world settings. The main goal of work-based learning is to help students develop skills for employment and education after high school. Work-based learning exposes students to a variety of industries and employment possibilities. The goal of work-based learning is to prepare students for future employment and careers. Some of the services that your borough TCAC provides, but not limited to, is professional learning opportunities, student and family-centered workshops, student and teacher training and trainings, which are sometimes aligned to work-based learning. Some of the programs that we provide for work-based learning is our Training Opportunities Program, which students are able to participate and receive a financial stipend. This is offered throughout the school year. We also support students with summer youth employment, which is July and August. Also, we have Work, Learn, and Grow program, which we provide services to students throughout the school year. And this provides college credits. So that's a new program we started last year, which we're very excited about continuing into the following year. The next school year, excuse me. So regarding exit summaries, as we near the end of high school, we considered how to support students transitioning from high school. So what is in the exit summary, and what is the roadmap to successful transition from high school? The purpose of the student exit summary is to provide the student with a written report that provides essential information to consider as the student transitions from secondary school. The student exit summary should be a useful and relevant document that summarizes individual students' abilities, needs, and limitations, and provides recommendations to support successful transition to adult living, learning, and/or working. The student exit summary should be designed to assist the student in establishing eligibility for reasonable accommodations and supports in post-secondary settings, the workplace and the community, and to aid the student in accessing adult services as appropriate. So in this slide, we have a lovely road, and we have different lines that are in different sections of the road. And so the first line that leads to this lovely road is develop, right? So student exit summary should be completed during the final year of high school, but must be provided to the student prior, not after, prior to the student leaving school. It should be personalized. Student exit summaries should be individualized and personalized and based on their current abilities. It should prioritize, student exit summaries must prioritize strengths and areas of growth, ensuring accuracy. It should ensure exit summary must ensure everyone is aware that this is a document that they can choose to share as a part of disability disclosure. And just as another reminder that the Transition College Access Centers, TCACs, we do provide workshops for families and workshops for students, both personalized or in group settings. And one of the topics that we do provide workshops or transition consultancies are in regard to disability disclosure. Excuse me. So pathway options for students. So here in this lovely slide, we have different arrows pointing to different areas of the slide. And so this represents the fact that there are different pathway options for students, just as I had mentioned before. It's not just college or university. So one of the paths is college or university, which is great. Another pathway is vocational or technical training programs. Another pathway is a gap year. Another pathway is immediate employment. Nothing wrong with immediate employment. And another pathway is military. So in case any parents or families were thinking about what is a gap year. A gap year is a full year or semester of experiential learning outside of the traditional educational setting. So for example, it could be an exchange program, volunteerism, paid work, internship, or a combination of these things that allows you to reset, recharge after fulfilling academic pressures associated with high school. A gap year can also be a year where your child wants to travel the world, or take some time to recharge their batteries. In today's world, so important for us as adults, but also for students to take care of our physical and mental health, right? So That's very important. So as I mentioned before, TCACs do have a lot of partnerships with different agencies, and we are more than happy to connect you with these agencies. As mentioned before, we do have a partnership with the Adult Career and Continuing Education Services, Vocational Rehabilitation, or Access VR. The Office of People with Developmental Disabilities for New York State, New York State Commission for the Blind, the Office of Mental Health, Include NYC. We also have partnerships and connections with the Mayor's Office of People with Disabilities in New York City, MOPD. And just as a reminder, and we're gonna have a link to the Family Guide for Transition Planning, which is available in different languages as well. These agencies are listed between pages 24 to 26, just a fun fact. So we wanted to highlight Access VR services because as mentioned before, pre-ETS services, which is a great program, right? We partner with Access VR, and in this lovely slide, we have a couple of books. We have an iPhone, and we have a person sitting and reading on a paperback book. We have a pen, and we have headphones, and this all points to the fact that Access VR has many different services available. The purpose of Access VR is to provide individuals with disabilities job training, placement, and counseling tailored to their specific individual needs. Some of the services is using assessments to help participants identify their skills, abilities, and also interests, provide career counseling and guidance, provide rehabilitation and assistive technology, training at a vocational school, community college, or on the job, provide supported employment, provide information on reasonable accommodations in the workplace that are aligned to the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA. Access VR promotes the belief that all individuals, regardless of the type of disability, can benefit from vocational rehabilitation programs and should have jobs integrated into their community. Administers vocational rehabilitation and independent living programs, provides a wide array of services to assist eligible individuals with disabilities in obtaining employment, provides services to students while in high school, big capital letters there, while in high school, it doesn't have to be after, while in high school, provides individual consultation, recommendations, and training to assist with maintaining a job, and provides information and support to employers. A lot of the different services they provide is very similar to the services that are provided through your local transition and college access center. So we do partner quite frequently, and we're happy to jointly provide services to our families. We also have a lot of partnerships with different colleges and universities. And one of them, of course, is CUNY. And so some of the programs that CUNY has robust programs for students and people with disabilities. CUNY Leads, Project Reach. Each of these different resources we will be dropping into the chat so that you have this. Also, we're gonna put into the chat the Disability Services main office, where if your child is going to CUNY, they can speak to their Disability Services office to request accommodations, and also mention Local Law 18, right? So how can you as a parent get started? Well, a recommendation is to complete the Parent Guardian Transition Assessment on page 28 of the Family Transition Planning Guide for Families, which we are putting into the link for you to access it electronically. Excuse me. excuse me, if you need it, if you want a paper based copy, we're more than happy to provide it at your local TCAC. Help your child complete the transition assessment on page 27. Go through the checklist on pages 14 through 16. Reach out to the guidance counselor at your child's school to request information, and or schedule a meeting or schedule a transition consultancy at your local TCAC. And that's what the Family Guide to Transition Planning looks like. And we also have a ask and share tool for families and schools to create a student-centered IEP. And this is specifically for high school students. The Transition and College Access Center. So you might ask yourself, where can I contact these wonderful borough TCAC offices? Well, contact information for the TCAC office in each borough can be found on our public website. Here in this slide, I know Lori is putting the link into the chat. And so when you come to this page, so in this slide, there's a snapshot picture of what, once you click the link, of where you'll be going to. And so it will say after high school. If you scroll down to number 7, where it says Transition College Access Centers, every single TCAC information is there, from website to address to phone number and all of that, and all the necessary contact information. It has been such a great privilege and pleasure being here with you tonight. We at the TCACs are support offices, and we're here to support you and your child through transition planning. So please do contact your local TCAC borough office. It is a privilege being here. Thank you so much for taking the time tonight to being here with me. I wish you much luck and have a great evening. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.